Okay, right now I don't even know what to call this podcast episode. I disappeared, right? So now I'm going to make everything really, really simple. Yeah, I'm going to make everything really, really simple. And um, we now will be publishing one episode every week, and then the newsletter I would always once I've written the newsletter, I'll record an audio version of the newsletter. I think that will be about 5 to 10 minutes, not too long, right? And that will come in every week with as well as um the main audio podcast episode, right? Um, so far I've realized that I think we have to step into the arena. We have to figure out what we are doing. We have to, as much as possible, get ourselves in the mud. And things are changing, but the thing is, we'll adapt, we'll evolve, right? And at a point in time, I just realized that there is a middle ground because for me, I've always been either you write the best of your ability or you don't write. And the thing I realize is that I don't have that much experience in terms of writing. Yeah, because I don't know how to do it. And then I realized that in most things, there is difficulty in terms of three phases. The first thing is you don't know how to do it, right? So it's very difficult. It's difficult in the sense that every time you're doing it, you're scared, you're afraid, it might not work out, it might not turn out well, it might be an absolute waste of time, right? The second thing is yeah, writing itself is hard. The people talk about the difficulty and everything, but once you kind of like get a hang of it, the only thing that would happen is that every project you get to work on is different. It's new, and it might fly, it might not fly. But once you get the hang of what you're doing, you can progress and proceed as much as possible. Now, so far for me, I my goals are quite simple, and it's it is to write a short story every week, write a poem every week, right? And now I would be um, consistent on the blog, and I will start posting tutorials on the YouTube channel and everything. So if you have things you love to me to make a video on, areas you love to me to discuss, people you love me to interview, please let me know, right? This episode is just for me to reach out to you, tell you that I'm still there and I'm ready to continue where we stopped and left off. And yeah, basically that's the whole idea of this. And what I realized is that for most of the things that have been so difficult in my life, the reason they've been so difficult is because I did not know how to do them. Now, what I would say is that for most of them it was a mind difficulty. Now, of course, the difficulty of the task does not change, right? If I need to fetch water, right? Let's say, okay, let me talk about physical work, then we'll talk about most of the mental and intellectual tasks, right? If I need to fetch water, now fetching the water itself, if I don't know how to fetch it, how to do it, I'm scared, I'm afraid. So many things, I'm like, oh, I mess things up, I must spoil everything, right? But once I realize how to do it, I realize, okay, this is it, and I'm able to replicate it and know how to do it. Guess what? I'm not as afraid as much as possible. All right, yeah, it might work, it might not work out, but I know that okay, I need to have to take water from point A to point B. Now the next thing I need to know is I need to build my muscle memory, right? Now, although I know how to do it step by step without fail, the precautions, everything, right? I need to do it over a couple of times in order to get my hands really, really strong. You get. And then after which, then there is the task itself. And over time of doing it, you become really strong and good at doing it, right? And sometimes, even though it's work, it doesn't feel like work. How do I explain this to you now? It is work, but it doesn't feel like work. It doesn't. I'll give an example. If you're driving a wheelbarrow, a very good wheelbarrow, right? And there's 2 gallons of water on it. While you're driving the wheelbarrow, if the river is really good, it feels really, especially if the road is good, it feels really light and you're driving it, and it feels as if you know, right. But if you give that wheelbarrow to a young child, to maybe 4 years or 5 years, my God, that's what called punishment, man. That's really, really difficult. Like compared to you, you've grown, right, and your capabilities have become really strong and all that, right. So this podcast episode is just to let you know that hi guys, I'm really out there, and I'd love to know what you want me to make a podcast episode on, what you want me to make a video on, and if you love to get updates about writing and all that, please go to buildwriting.com. And if you would like to subscribe to my newsletter, go to buildwriting.com/newsletter, and you'll be able to join the newsletter and get updates on what I'm currently working on. So currently I'll be releasing one episode every week, and it will range from documentaries, it will range from solo episodes, from interviews, and it will also range from the experiments I'm working on, right? Right now, we're not coming to sound anyway, right? I want to keep everything as simple as possible, and so I can be consistent, so I can come out there, so I get, so the work itself does not mean doing the work. To explain this now. Okay, my focus is on writing itself, and that's it. And making video is what I do, and to share it out with the world. I don't want to make making video the work that I do, right? Yeah, because one thing I realized is that as long as I'm doing the actual work, which is writing, being in the arena, and creating and all that, it becomes easier for me to put myself out there and make videos and make podcasts and episodes and all that, right? So the goals I have currently is write one short story every week, write forms of poetry every week. Now in next year, I don't know what I would be working on, but for next year, I do feel that some of the things I might run some challenge, some marathons, some sprints. I don't know that, but you guys should just subscribe to my newsletter. That way, you get updates on anything I decide to work on. Right? I'm really, 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 really happy to collab and work with most of you guys. First things first. If you're new here, this podcast is for people that are um, short story writers, poets, more short prose writers, and poetry. Right, any forms of short form of writing. That's what this podcast is in terms of creative writing, of course, literary writing. Yeah, that's what the podcast is. So basically, that's what we'll be talking about. And thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for being around all through. You were listening to the Build Writing podcast, and I remain Oyemichi Nwakona. Hi. Until next time, keep writing.